Round one, fight!
The Grim Reaper Gamers are a 25 and over gaming community with members spanning the globe, playing games across all genres, but our roots are in first-person shooters. Bring your thick skin, drink of choice, and grab your controllers. GRG members are on nightly with official community nights every Wednesday. And now, it's time for the ReaperCast.
Hello there, everybody. We are at ReaperCast episode number 56. Can't we all just get along? And believe it or not, it's Jammer. I have taken over. I am hosting tonight. Johnny either didn't get the notification that we had a podcast tonight, or is in a meeting, some type of bullshit excuse that he gives me and Jack all the time. But he's not here, so he can't defend himself. So I am going to be able to take as many shots as I want without feeling bad, because I don't have to look at his sad puppy face when I make comments against him. So welcome here, everybody. I am joined tonight by a couple of people on our panel. First and foremost, the leader of our website, who keeps everything afloat. He is our savior. He's very friendly, is accommodating. Alala, how you doing tonight? What are you drinking? What you been playing?
Yes, I am the nicest person in GRG. That's a fact. Also, talking about Johnny, just a quick heads up. We do have the Johnny Lies mega thread that we created with actual proof, audio documentation of Johnny lying. So you may want to check that in our forums. Currently, what am I playing? The standard Battlefield 1, some Paladins, and Elder Scrolls as usual. And I'm drinking a local beer, Manny Young Brewing Company, Side Piece American Style Pale Ale. So I just picked this up the other day. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Is it like a lighter pale ale, or is it a...
It's got some hoppy kick to it. Other than that, it's pretty good.
Yeah. That's good to know. And that's awful. Whoever came up with that idea about his Lies mega thread, that's pretty awful.
Yeah, they're just rotten people. Rotten people.
Yeah, it's pretty rotten. I mean,
I don't
tried to help
condone it,
him.
but...
We do apologize. Partly also this should be a suspension from him, because we do want our host to be honest with our audience.
Yes.
And Johnny has struggled with that, and we're aware of that. So this is kind of that mega thread about his lies is kind of an intervention in a sense. So maybe
that was created in minutes after you were asked.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, so the other voice you hear is, believe it or not, a member who's been around, and this is his first time on the podcast. Correct?
Yes.
Yes. It's Grumpy in Utah, or GrumpyInUt.
Yep.
From our Discord and from forums. He's got other names. He's apparently like Enyo and Ghost, who has to have 6,000 fucking names all at the same time. But we're going to ask him our favorite thing, the member spotlight questions. But how you doing, Grumpy? First, what have you been playing, and what are you drinking tonight?
Tonight I'm drinking just a Mountain Dew. Don't drink as much as I used to.
That's a good man. It's not Diet Pepsi, so you're okay.
No, not Diet Pepsi. Been playing Elite Dangerous a little bit. I took a bit of a break. The new update kind of wasn't as fun as it was expected.
Mm-hmm.
Also been playing Battlegrounds with you guys, and Arma recently. Arma 3 has seemed to have gotten a revival a bit.
Yeah, I purchased that one. I haven't had a chance to. I'm doing the Johnny roll with it. I bought it. I've downloaded it. But I haven't had a chance to play it yet. So since I'm the host tonight, I figured I would follow in his footsteps at least.
And
yeah,
speaking of Armor, real quick, I know Digital has a server up for that, so you can find the information on our forums at forums.greenreapergamers.com.
And actually,
he set up an actual server for that?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, I thought he was just found a server that we could all use that was reliable.
There's two. There's one he found and one that he created. What Jack and I really would like is also, if you ask in Discord 7,000 times where the server information is, we really like that.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
one of our favorite things to do. So, Grumpy, we're going to do some member spotlight questions here, so we're going to put you in the fire.
Okay.
Don't worry, you're going to do great.
You're doing fine.
You're doing fine. It's okay.
2 knuckles deep.
Let me ask you the stupidest questions we created first.
Deep breaths.
So your gamer tag there, what made you create that as your gamer tag?
Okay, so my original gamer tag was Leviticus 78, which I've been known for a long time. when, you guys knew me way back then as that. But I used to hang around in PPC. I still am in PPC, actually. But Johnny Cornholer and Tengu, you guys know them, would always join their parties, and my job's pretty stressful, and I would bitch constantly about my day or the customers. And then I got talking to him one day. I'm like, my gamer tag is just so boring. It's a name and a number. It's just so generic. And Tengu goes, GrumpyInUt, just without even hesitation. And I thought, that is genius. And I changed it like a week later.
So that's not for urinary tract infection then?
No.
No? Okay, I just wanted to make
We
sure.
were wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
we kind of thought it was.
They steer you to GRG because Grumpy, and that's very fitting. So that kind of ties into what brought you to GRG, right, in the first place?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, look at that. That's pretty easy. We're moving on. See, Johnny, this is easy.
Yeah, well, see, a lot of the guys from Too Old to, well, it goes back to the old days of Too Old to Play, with Too Old to Shoot and Pension Plan Commandos. A lot of the guys are, they're in both clans.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of the guys from Too Old to Shoot are in PPC and vice versa. So we actually have friends in the gaming community and other communities. So
Oh, you have lots of friends. You tell us.
I have tons of friends. So yeah, a lot of the guys.
But it's a bleed over that works.
Yes.
Sometimes bleed overs don't work.
No.
That's
I think
true.
because none of us really give a fuck about winning or losing and giving, we're just out there playing and having a good time. So
Well, we all suck.
Yep.
yeah. So the only people, we have people like Too Fat that Johnny gets in his sidecar and rides in
Johnny's
tanks
sidecar.
with. But, whatever. It works.
So Grumpy, now, so how long you been gaming, and what was the first console and games that you really got into?
First console would have been the NES. And probably my favorite game on there was Guardian Legend. And every time I bring it up, nobody's heard of it.
Yeah, I never heard of it.
Neither right. And you're a young one because a lot of us are picking Atari 2600. So
Yeah. So you suck. I'm hanging up on you right now.
My grandma had one, and I played that. But the first one I owned myself was the NES.
Okay. And so what kind of game was that?
I want to say Galga, but I don't think that's right. But it was a 2-part game, kind of like Master Blaster.
Okay.
Where you would walk around on a 2D map, and you'd go to the side of the screen, and it would change to the next room, kind of like Zelda did.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to a point where you jump in this portal, and then you're a top-down fighting shooter, and it would scroll screen down, and you dive back and forth and forward and backwards and shoot everything. So there was 2 parts to it. I guess it could be classified as the first adventure RPG, kind of. I mean, you couldn't really pick up loot and equip your stuff, but it wasn't just one or the other.
Yeah, those early ones
kinda
you couldn't
nice.
do that much with it.
Yeah.
surprised it's not Mario.
That's
Nintendo.
easy.
Mario, that's just a given. If you didn't own
Yeah.
Nintendo, yeah.
Yeah, I had the brother that owned it. See, now, like a professional host that I am, like I have a list of questions here, but I'm not asking every of these questions. Instead of reading down a list.
Wait. Going by someone who's no stranger to podcasts,
Yeah.
Go down the list and you follow it exactly per word, verbatim.
Okay, so you want me to go back up to number 3 since I skipped, I'm all over. Yeah, I don't give a crap what other members don't know about you or what your day job is. I don't need to know that crap. So, all-time game, any system, what's your favorite game? And then what's probably the game you didn't like at all that you might have thought you liked?
All-time favorite is a tie between Final Fantasy VII and Lost Odyssey.
I remember Lost Odyssey.
But see, Lost Odyssey probably wouldn't have cared until I had a family, because it's got some real feel scenes in there.
Mm-hmm. Were they 360 games?
Yeah, it was a 4-disc 360 game.
Yeah. I think I got that like a GameFly or whatever back in the day.
And it was like under the radar, flew under the radar, and I don't remember how I come across it. And I'm like, oh yeah, that looks fun. And I started playing it, and I just couldn't put it down. And I was just, wow, it was amazing.
See, the best part of this is Jack has no notes for your answers, so he's totally screwed right now.
Yeah, I have nothing to say here. I'm just quiet.
What about a game that you ended up not liking?
Not liking? I thought about this today, actually. Bayou Billy.
What the
Good.
fuck?
What the fuck? We need to screen these people better. He's making up shit.
That was on
yeah.
that was on
I
the
don't think it's
original
a game.
Nintendo. That was the hardest damn game. I rage quit that so hard as a kid.
Well, games used to be a lot harder in the older consoles too. They didn't hold your hand like they do now.
Oh yeah, and this one didn't have a code like Metroid. This one, you die, you start completely over. It was brutal.
What are you bitching about? You love Elite Dangerous. That's not easy.
Well, I fly with enough money, so I don't have to start over.
There you go. So, besides those questions, now I'm going to make crap up, and then I'm going to let Jack ask, because I'm sure he has his notes over there. I only have one additional one, because somebody's a scaredy cat and didn't have a camera on, so I can't pick on anything in their house, so I apologize to the audience for that.
I apologize for that, too.
Yeah. Do you pray to the altar of Wentz every night, weekly? How often do you pray to the altar of our God, Carson Wentz?
Between the months of August and February.
August and February.
Daily.
Wait, so, where did you actually grow up?
I've grown up in Idaho, Arizona, and Utah.
And how the hell
But
did you become an Eagles fan?
I refused to jump on the goddamn bandwagon that is the Broncos or the Seahawks.
All hail Wentz?
Yeah, well,
Yes.
That's what we were just talking about.
All hell Wentz.
You know,
I'm sorry, I had to go
ignoring us.
troubleshoot something. Yes.
But everybody around here, oh, the Broncos are great. No, you cheer for the Broncos because they're one state over, and we have jack shit. That's why you cheer for the Broncos. Let's be honest.
See, I feel bad now. I can't make fun of him. I mean, you've already lost in life by living in Idaho and Utah. So, I mean, I kind of feel bad picking on you.
Here's a question: during the off season, do you import potatoes in Idaho or? Like kind of Georgian corn?
Funny you should mention that. You can actually go, a lot of people around here will go up to Idaho and buy big 50-pound bags and then sell them down here on their flatbed trailers at bulk prices, discounts.
Such a different world than what Jack.
It's like an Idaho, it's like a potato flea market.
Potato flea market. Jack, do you have other questions?
Red potatoes,
we got corn, we got potatoes. Yeah, I do. Actually, okay, so being from you're also from Pension Plane Commandos.
Yeah.
And which is a clan that's really tied into Battlefield, or was.
Right.
I know you don't play Battlefield 1. Why'd you give up on the Battlefield titles? Especially
I needed something new. Because I played, well, when I joined Pension Plane Commandos, Bad Company 2 was the hot ticket item. So I got into that big time. And then we got into Battlefield 3 big time. And then Battlefield 4, and I'm just like, I'm done. I'm tired. I gotta take a couple years break and play some other things. But I think at the time, I mean, there wasn't really a lot of games that piqued my interest. I mean, Battlefield, I had a huge group of players to play with, lots of friends that always played it, so it was easy to, I just hop on and join a party. But then, Elite Dangerous come along, and when was the last time there was a good flight sim game since Elite Dangerous? The only one I can think of is the N64 and X-Wing or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. So I guess that maybe there was a two-part thing, is I was tired of Battlefield, and there was other games on the Xbox One that came out that piqued my interest finally.
Yeah, it's funny because I noticed that with a lot of the guys that used to play Bad Company 2 with aren't playing Battlefield 1, and I seen a huge shift from our group. They used to play Call of Duty all the time. Now all playing Battlefield 1. It was kind of interesting to see the differences. Like a lot of hardcore Battlefield players just aren't playing Battlefield 1, and I was just kind of curious why. But since you didn't play, you can't answer, and you suck. So.
Yeah, that doesn't seem to have gained much traction, or am I just not seeing the true picture?
I think a lot of the hardcore Battlefield players probably think it's a little too casual. And I think a lot of the guys that play Call of Duty, they're looking for something a little bit more, really enjoy Battlefield 1 because it adds that extra element to it. And it plays very similar to a Call of Duty title.
Okay.
Got any more, Jack?
No, that was my question.
Well,
that's all I have in my notes.
Thanks for being really interested in Grumpy's life. I appreciate you coming up with one fucking question.
You know what? You came up with one, and the rest are all Disney questions.
I don't know what you're talking about. He did great, though. I was only a knuckle deep. So let's move on to basically community stuff. One thing, unlike Johnny, I will sell it better. That a couple ways besides the standard events that we run, which you should always check the calendar on GrimReaperGamers.com. Always check that out. But we've had some new members coming in and everything, and there's a guy kind of joined today or yesterday. He just picked up Destiny. If you got a game you want to play, go to forums.grimreapergamers.com. Put a post up saying, "Hey, I want to play this tonight. Is anybody around to do it?" And you don't have to wait for an event, even though we have scheduled events as a community. Guys are always willing to help other guys out and join in. So don't always wait for us as staff to give you a game to play. Post up that you're looking to play something, and most of the time you're going to get bites. I mean, shit, Ghostwalker owns every fucking game in the universe. He'll play it with you. All right?
Yeah. Well, actually,
so keep that in mind.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I asked Grex that one time in the forums. I'm like, hey, how can we pin Elite Dangerous? It's got, well, I think it was after some big update, and I started really pitching it, and I asked Grex in the forums, I'm like, hey, can we pin this mega thread? And he says, yeah, man, I'll give you a month. It was just like that easy.
Mm-hmm.
But see, that's the whole key to it. Yes, Grex. That's why it was easy. If you asked me,
then he
sorry.
So besides making your own stuff, we do have planned events right now that are going on. Like Monday nights is Shooter McGavin, FPS Mondays, which what's been the shooter of choice on Mondays typically, Lala?
Well, the whole idea of it was to try to branch off to a couple of different shooters because we play a lot of right now we're currently playing a lot of Battlefield 1. So I was thinking like maybe we could branch out to other titles. That really hasn't gained traction just yet. So the past couple of Mondays we've been playing Battlefield, and we fill the Xbox party, so it's kind of crazy. I'm hoping next week to get either Paladins or an Overwatch room running alongside. So,
have you played Overwatch since you bought it?
I have not. I've played one game with the PvE. One game with PvE. I was kind of hoping to get some action going, but I haven't been able to get any traction, and my schedule's been kind of crazy with stuff. Yeah, no, I rebought it because I like Paladins, but no one has Paladins. So I'm thinking, well, maybe there's similar games. Maybe people play that. And I haven't had any luck. So no. Yeah. So it was $30 pissed away.
So moving on from Lalo's failure on Overwatch. On Tuesday nights, first of all, I would like to say I'm sorry. This is bad news for Nail Bunny, but Nail Bunny's been promoted to helping run our ESO guild. Tuesday nights we do dungeon dives, and Nail Bunny's helping out now. Jack likes to get in there on Tuesday nights when we're not recording the podcast, which we are right now. How's that been going, Jack?
Actually, that's been going pretty well. It keeps growing. We've recruited a few new people to play. Plus we have some other guys come in. It's a very casual night on Tuesdays. We kind of pick some goofy event like run public dungeons or go after world bosses and just kind of nuke them together as a group. We've been having anywhere from like 6 to 10 people in a group. So it's going pretty well. And I think, everybody's kind of building up some excitement towards the future expansion for Morrowind.
Yeah, we're only a little over a month away from Morrowind now. It's like a month and a week or so.
Yeah, it's June 6th. It's coming out. So.
Yeah, so it's coming pretty soon. And then, of course, Wednesday night is our main night. That's our community night. Where we all get together and hang out as a community, play games. Battlefield 1's been very popular in Xbox. We have a decent PC crowd now. We've been playing Battlegrounds, but now Arma is going to let us have a little bit more and having more people join because Battlegrounds, the most you can ever have is 4. So by having Arma as well as a possible option, we can all kind of play together rather than separating each other. But I know Battlefield 1 has had a lot of full parties on the Xbox on Wednesday nights and been successful.
Yeah. I noticed. For Battlefield 1, we always have a full party Wednesday night. So we're packing it in. We usually have the party and then a secondary party run at the same time. It's a little chaotic since everybody's on all different teams and whatnot, but it is what it is. But I noticed for the PC crowd, that keeps growing. You keep getting more and more people on PC, and they're running the different games. I like to see them get a little more focused on games. So on Wednesdays,
to annoy you.
Yeah, on Wednesdays they can all like group up and play the same game together. But you gotta do what you gotta do.
I was very fortunate to join in the PC crowd because my kid got a brand new computer and he gave me his quote unquote old one, which is only like 4 years old.
Yeah, because you've been doing some Battlegrounds with us. And,
yeah.
You got Arma, right?
Yeah, and funny thing about Arma is like Battlefield, only way more intense, way more realistic. Mm-hmm. And you gotta have a pretty decent machine to run that thing. I have all my stuff set on standard, and I still have a GTX 960.
Arma's basically me just hanging out with my friends from the community and dying a lot. Is basically what I plan for me. It's called death. It's not called Arma for me.
But it was still pretty neat. It's still a pretty neat game.
Yeah, and
I look at those games and no, thank you.
Yeah, I just like the idea of all of us being able to play something a little bit more.
Oh hell, I don't even know what the player limit on that is per squad. It's something like 30 people or something.
Yeah, because Battlegrounds on the PC, we've had times where we've had 6 of us, and then you have 2 people and we have to get different chats and everything. So it's working out well that way. So, but if you're part of the community or if you're just listening to this podcast, you're thinking about joining a place. Wednesday night's the place when we're all on, and just join in on somebody. And then we also have a standard event running every Friday still with a Drunken Friday Battlefield 1. Unfortunately, I apologize, it's with Lala typically, but people still come and show up apparently.
Yes, well, alcohol's involved, so they can tolerate me.
Is that what it
is? Those are some of the funnest times of Battlefield, was drunken Battlefield nights. You get too fat in a tank, 6-pack of beer. Oh, hell.
I think for next Friday, I need to come up with a drinking game. So
how long Johnny sits in the tank, you got to take a shot?
Every time Johnny says, oh, shit.
He can't.
Oh, shit, I died.
That's awesome. Take some more time off, Johnny. So that's pretty much it. But like I stated earlier, I cannot stress enough, because I see a lot of members, especially in the newer side, do this, where they wait for us. As you don't have to. Post up what you want to play. Even Elite Dangerous. I mean, we have a good following on that game. Just by somebody posting up and started talking about it, and then other people gain interest, especially with our ADD that most of us have, minus Jack, who complains about it all the time.
I never complain about a thing, but I think that you're correct. That is the best way. The events that we create, most of them are created by me because I'm the only one that follow through, but not blaming my staff or anything. But if you're interested,
I'm signing off now. Have a good night.
See, but yeah, if you're interested in playing a game, if there's something that we're not playing, chances are somebody in the group is. We have like almost 700 members registered. So if you post in the forums, that's where everybody's going to go see it. I'll definitely pimp it during the newsletter if it's in there before Wednesday, so you get some attention that way. Pretty much any game goes.
All right, so moving on to gaming news now, after we're done pimping all that crap out. Remember, it's always forums.grimreapergamers.com. So first up is, we talked about this a little bit on the last podcast about Call of Duty going back to World War II was a rumor. That's been confirmed now. Now the next rumors are kind of coming out that the release date will be November 3rd, which generally falls in line around when they release. Sounds like there, besides multiplayer and single player, there might be a separate standalone co-op story. And there definitely will be season passes, as images have leaked that a season pass will be included if you buy the Pro Edition. So they are not going to go down the path of free DLC like Jack has been asking everybody to do. What's your thoughts on that news coming out, Jack and Grumpy?
Well, I think the season pass not being, or the free DLC not happening is a big mistake. I just don't see. I mean, COD, they got hurt last round with Infinite Warfare. I don't see anybody on my friends list playing. I got like 500 people on that friends list. It's just not, other than beers. I think a big way they could have attracted players is to offer that free DLC. They're already offering those crates where you can buy those, the weapons in game and whatnot. So they're going to make their money that way. Offer the DLC. Get the people playing the game. I don't understand. So Halo's doing it. Titanfall's doing it. Other games are doing it. It's just the trend, and I think it's a big mistake.
What do you think, Grump?
Something I've always, as someone I'm a job estimator in my job, and something I've always wondered.
I told you earlier, I didn't
Titanfall
give a
does
crap what you
this.
do during the day.
They offer free DLCs. How do they make? I agree. I like the free DLC model, but I don't know how they make money that way. Is it just because they account for triple in sales because of the free DLC, and then that'll cover the cost?
Well, what they're doing is like games like Call of Duty. You can buy crates, and games like Halo, you can buy these crates or these whatever they call them packs to unlock weapon skins or some bullshit like that. Call of Duty will even give you like weapons you can only get from the crates, and you can technically earn some of them within the game, but it's obviously easier to pay. So it's kind of pay to win or pay to buy.
A little bit pay to win, but not necessary.
Well, some of the guns depends. I think one of the guns in the Modern Warfare Remastered is supposed to be really OP that you can get through these crates. So that's how they're making their money. What I also think with these map packs, a lot of them seem like they're like the reject maps that didn't make it into the actual full game. Like they could design the game, like say, they got 20 maps. They release it with 10, and then the other ones they release as DLC. They kind of clean them up and work on them during the next few months. But those maps are already built. They never seem to be as good as the main maps that came with the game. So I think like they build these things, really what they want the $100. They want $100 per title instead of the 60, and they're trying to find ways to do it.
I think with the struggle they've had in the past years, and you can't really blame them. It's like, I had this discussion with somebody. It's like, COD needs to change it up. And somebody's like, change it to what? It's COD. And I'm like, okay, good point.
Yeah.
But you're raising that point. If they offered free DLC on this new release, that might be what they need to revitalize it.
It'd be one of the things. I think there's a few. You look at like, I think the last few games, the kill streaks were just overwhelming. And it kind of ruined the game. Like we played domination, and like once you started losing, there was just no coming back because you were just getting shit on the entire game by like missiles and ships and helicopters. And it was just so overwhelming and so overpowered. It just kind of ruined the game. I mean, there's just nothing you can do. And I think their map design, they went to like a 3-lane small map, focused on choke points. And I think that has to change. I think they need to go back. Like original Modern Warfare 1 had like huge maps. Like some of the maps were enormous, like Overgrown was an enormous map. And I miss stuff like that.
Yeah, the 3-lane choke point map does not work.
Yeah. And like, I mean, I miss Call of Duty titles. We played Too Old to Shoot, played it since Modern Warfare 1. We were big into it. And, it's been rough trying to replace that, but Infinite Warfare just couldn't do it. A lot of us failed.
Let me ask you guys before we move on, too, is the other thing I had mentioned, which we didn't bring up, because Call of Duty, the main draw, I used to play the single-player campaign, but eventually I just bought it just to play multiplayer with my friends. If this standalone co-op story is included in there, are they wasting their efforts, or is that a draw to a different audience that they're hoping to grab, or is it a waste of time?
I think that the standalone co-op is maybe this version's edition of zombie mode. Mm-hmm. So, like, you go and play your zombie mode, like Black Ops 2, zombie mode, whatever. I think maybe they couldn't get that, or maybe they wanted to change it up. So they created a standalone co-op mission that's going to be something similar to that. So that's going to be that version. It's going to replace that. I mean, they don't really reinvent anything new, so.
I mean, I'll go back to what I was saying before, World War II or whatever it is. Even if they eliminate some of the jumping and exoskeleton shit and all they've done, it's still going to be ramped up speed where it's your run, shoot, die. And I don't think going back to World War II is going to change that. They're not going to slow the pace down. Their audience is faster pace audience. If you want a slower pace, you go to a Battlefield. So it doesn't matter what setting they make it in. I mean, the space idea was really dumb, obviously. But
I think they played it out too much. I think it was kind of interesting the first title or so, but I think just the continued advanced future warfare stuff just got old. Like Black Ops 2 was future warfare. The last couple Call of Duties were Black Ops 3, IW. It just got too much. But speaking of Call of Duty and DLC, I was just reading a thing about people bitching and moaning about the remastered Modern Warfare 1 DLC. So now they're selling this at more than what they originally charged for the map packs when it first came out. I think the map packs it was like $10 when you first, originally for the 360. Now it's $15. So it's interesting to see them charge for DLC for a game they threw in. It's another revenue stream for them.
They get every penny they can.
They can, and I think that hurts them in the long run. I think that's it's a big negative. I think they need to abandon that and look at doing something for the community and create a better game and offer those map packs, that DLC for free.
Mm-hmm. Stop segmenting the base too. So moving on, we have some people play Resident Evil 7, but I'm kind of get to a question based off of this. They had free DLC that was supposed to be coming out pretty soon, and the developer came out with basically a quick video or whatever apologizing because the DLC is going to be delayed. While that's not kind of big news to our community, we didn't have a lot of Resident Evil 7 players. It made me wonder: is there a point when you delay stuff? Is there a point that free DLC it's too late? I mean, generally you play these games and then you move on.
Depends on the game.
Yeah.
If it's a hot ticket game, like Battlefield, everybody's playing it and everybody gets pissed off and leaves, yeah, it's probably too late. If it's a single player game where it's story driven, no free DLC is ever too late in a story driven single player game for me.
Yeah, I will even go with paid with that. I'll go back to what I always go to with BioShock. Is that DLC could have taken 3 years after the game. I was so invested in the story and the game itself, I wanted that DLC. But that's like, a favorite of mine.
It's a turd.
Yeah, I think it's a turd. Tournament next week. So, what do you think on that, Lala?
Yeah, I think DLC needs to come out in a timely manner. Obviously, I think I just didn't go by just free. I think even paid. You look at games like Battlefield 1. By the time that first DLC came out, they were losing people. People were losing interest in it. Battlefield 4 at the same time already had 2 DLCs come out. So it's Division's the same way. Division had a lot of players start off and they play through the base game. I think they needed to follow through with DLC pretty much a month after that game was released, just to keep interest, people playing it. And they took too long and they lost people.
Now, but you said a key word here is timely. So what would you consider timely to be? What type of time frame?
With the ADD that most gamers have now, you're looking at, you need to have DLC the first month, a month after the title's released.
That's pretty quick. I don't think many people really even do that, though.
Yeah.
No, but you look at how fast people turn over from games here. But I see it from GRG, how quickly people turn over to a different game.
About.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, relates to Jammer in the last podcast with instant gratification. And I got me thinking, well, why don't they develop this shit ahead of time? And then it's like, they can't. Because the publisher's pushing them to get the damn game done and push it out the door. Mm-hmm. So then they have to go straight from that to straight to DLC. And they're just push because everybody wants it now.
They don't even go straight to DLC. They have to go straight to patching it because they couldn't complete the game in time for launch.
8 gig first day download is awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, like, if you have a game come out like for this holiday season in January, you should be pumping out DLC. So maybe 2 months. But any time later than that, I think you're losing people.
Yeah.
No game has staying power anymore.
Especially for holiday sales, because there's always several games that come out. So it's like, if you're not going to keep your players on that game, they're going to go to the next new game that they got for Christmas too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, definitely. Yeah, and it's a common problem, and especially in shooters. You're already segmenting the user base as it is. You'd have a better chance of keeping that user base. They might be more tempted to buy that map pack at a quicker date in a timely fashion, as we say, rather than waiting 3 months out when then you've lost people. And then in our situation where we have people that just play it maybe on Wednesday nights, that's where the segmentation takes place.
Yeah. Now games like Grand Theft Auto are kind of the exception to that rule. They can do whatever the fuck they want, and people love it anyway.
You print out your agenda because I changed things. He's trying to spin me in the next topic on the agenda, but I changed it.
Oh. I don't know what you changed it to.
He just tried to spin me through. See, he was trying to segue for me, and I just fucked it up for him. I love it. Speaking of that, so Jack, the Battlefield 1 Spring update is
my
coming
goodness.
out.
How did you change that?
It's called using a monitor rather than printing shit out archaic. What say you about Battlefield 1 Spring update?
You know, I don't actually have a date on when it's coming out, unfortunately, because, you know, that would require some kind of research. But, just a few things for Battlefield 1 coming out. You have password-protected servers. I guess it's good for clan tournaments or some shit like that. I don't know. I think they're overpriced to begin with at $25 a month. It's bullshit. They're also going to introduce tunes, which is something that's odd. That should have been included right away. This platoons is just more work for me, and it offers no real benefit to the player other than having G or G in front of their name. But the platoons will be 100 members. You'll have 4 ranks within there, and if you can link it to a private server, and you'll be able to join right on somebody on that private server. I don't know, whatever. And there will be 4 new weapon variants for the level 10 weapons for each class. So there'll be more stuff to unlock.
Rumors on Reddit, and that's Reddit.
Yeah. So, everything that comes from Reddit is true.
Yes, that and Wikipedia. Everything is true. And all of Johnny's lies. Anything Johnny says is untrue, apparently, too.
Well, anything
from the mega thread.
I just go by R Gone Wild. That's about it. So.
And Johnny goes to his little neo-jaff and gaff and all that.
Johnny goes to R/corn.
So, okay, so we had the spring update coming up. Be on the lookout for that, especially if you're one of those people that's been in the Battlefield. Also, GTA. See how I switched things right there, so that way he's screwed.
No, I'm all screwed up. I don't know where you're at in the agenda. I'm confused.
I don't have an agenda.
Very upset.
I type it out and then rip it up.
My God, you're so promoted.
So there is, right now, if you log in to GTA by April 30th, we'll get 400. So log in, even if you don't plan on 425,000 for free.
Yeah, you buy yourself an apartment or cars or some shit like that.
Take you 3 months to grind that out in GTA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think you'll get it the 30th if I read it right. So you log in. All you gotta do is just log in.
Yeah.
Get into online, and then you're done.
It's just like Lala always tells people with ESO, just log in real quick, upgrade your horse's wang, and then log back out. So same thing. Log in to GTA, get your 425,000, log back out, and then when we play it, which we've been talking about getting an update on doing it again because we've had a blast with it. There's also a tiny racer update, like a micro machine type of thing. They could just continue to pump in content on GTA, and just with no end in sight. Every time you think, okay, they're probably done, more comes out for it.
I think it helps them that they create, like, their updates aren't like big major patches. It's small stuff. So like they'll introduce a new game mode, a couple new outfits or whatnot. So it makes it easier for them to release on an often basis. They're able to, get them pushed out pretty quickly. The tiny racers, that looks kind of odd. It's like the old GTA 1 style game.
Mm-hmm. It's something we always talk about when we mention GTA, and obviously we've talked about having a GTA night on the website, but at GrimReaperGamers.com. But it really is something that caters to GRG, and we always have a blast when we do it. So it's something we should pick up and play a little bit more consistently because it's a whole bunch of fun. Just don't have Lala with you driving around.
I'm telling you, my favorite time in that game was when I got that armored car and no one else had one. Yes. And I tortured the fuck out of GRG, just running them over, killing them. And then Johnny would get his cars without bulletproof tires and you'd shoot them all out. And
that should be the first thing you buy in that game.
You would think Johnny would know better.
Yeah.
Every time he got in his car, no tires. Every before out.
I guarantee you Johnny's never taken a podcast off again because he's just getting too many shots without defending them. He's going to do it remotely. He's going to do it anywhere he can. So definitely log in to Grand Theft Auto and get that money, your armored car, so you can compete with Lala. A little bit of Battlefront 2 news. There was an announcement saying there will be no season pass with it, but then they wouldn't take the next step to say that the DLC was free. So we're not quite sure from the news I was reading. They seem to they're giving mixed messages right now with what's going on with it. It's Star Wars. I think we're all going to get it, but any thoughts on that? It's kind of a weird announcement.
No, they have to release this as free. I can't see this succeeding otherwise.
Yeah, but if the old Battlefront on PC was so popular for so long, so if they made a quality game like that, don't you think people would then stick around longer than they did for the...
I don't know. The last Battlefront looked great, it sounded great, and that's pretty much where that title ended. I think they really, really missed the boat on that. They kind of screwed that one up as far as gameplay went. I think they suffered with the DLC. People just weren't playing it. Like, you get to the last DLC and probably like 5 people that owned it. So trying to find a game and getting a match going, it was almost impossible. So I think hopefully they'll go that route, but who knows? I mean, this company, I don't know. It'd be a big step for them.
Yeah, I mean, because they kind of made the announcement and then it seemed like they were backtracking a little bit too. So I don't know if they really. I don't know if somebody said that and then now they're like, whoa. You know, we're not sure about that yet.
I think they want to charge for season pass, but they got burned last time and no one bought it. And
yeah, there's some higher up right now being like, no, we must charge, and they're thinking, oh fuck, there's no way.
They got the Star Wars movie coming out, so they're thinking, hey, we got all this hype coming to it. And
yeah, but there was the last time when Battlefront came out, is when Force Awakens released.
Yeah,
I think that's the problem, personally. It's just everywhere you turn is effing Star Wars. And don't get me wrong, I love Star Wars.
Let me push the button.
You got Lego Star Wars, you got Batman Star Wars, you got Rainbow Six Star Wars, you got
whoa, hold on.
That.
If there's Batman Star Wars, that'd be just too overpowered, and you can't have that'd be like having Embiid in Star Wars flying the Millennium Falcon.
Superman's probably the dude that planned the Death Star and didn't think about the little hole that could explode everything.
Superman's kind of like that guy that was on Jabba the Hutt's shoulder. What was his name? Salacious D or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
The guy that laughed. Yeah, it's kind of Superman, but yeah, I think that they want to charge for this, but I don't think that anyone's buying. So
no.
So moving on with Star Wars, one last thing, it's not gaming, but entertainment-wise, is the Last Jedi trailer had come out since our last podcast. Me being the Star Wars geek I am, the hair stood up on my arms because I'm not a hateful person like Lala. And I got really excited for it because it's Star Wars, and I have high hopes again, obviously. Even though I didn't hate the Force Awakens, it wasn't the best movie ever to me, but at least it brought Star Wars back, and I could see it on a big screen again since Lucas fucked it all up. So, Grump, did you watch the trailer?
I have not seen the trailer.
All right, you're fired.
Yeah, fired. Promoted.
You're promoted. So, Lala, let us know. You're positive about movies. What were your thoughts?
It was a turd. So no, the last Star Wars, I mean, the movies are okay at best. Okay. You looked at the Force Awakens, and what was the best part of it was Han Solo and Chewbacca. They were the best parts of that.
It just tells you like hairy dudes running around.
Yes. And then you had Rogue One, which was an okay movie. It was entertaining. It was nothing great. It was definitely not the same as Star Wars A New Hope. It was okay at best during the rest of the movie, but at the last 10 minutes when Darth Vader comes in, that's when I got, holy shit, this was awesome. I could watch this all day. And I don't feel that they're able to recapture the original magic that was Star Wars. I don't know if it's oversaturated at this point or what the deal is. Maybe the writing just sucks. We just expect better. We have proper sci-fi shows like Firefly that's out. So now the trailer, they barely show anything. So I'm kind of clueless when it comes to this stuff. Luke's talking light. He's talking about the dark, the balance. So everybody's saying it's going to introduce gray Jedis, which I'm not familiar with. I don't read the books, so I'm not too familiar with it. I know that was a big thing in the books. I don't know if they're keeping that, how they introduce that, but that's what it kind of sounds like. He wants to end the Jedi Order to get rid of the Siths, which I don't understand how it's possible, because when he was, a moisture farmer back in Star Wars 1, there was only, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda. So there was hardly any Jedi left. It was almost dead at that point. So,
but Uncle Owen.
So, I mean, the Jedi Order was kind of dead then. I mean, you had Obi-Wan Kenobi playing with the Sand People and Yoda collecting garbage on Dagobah. I kind of thought they were over at that point. I don't know. So I think that they're leading towards gray Jedis.
There you go. That is the Lala movie minute that I always try and push on. When we make an agenda, I always try and put things in there so I could show off how Lala hates things. And probably the next podcast will be May 9th, which I'll bring up later. But Guardians of the Galaxy will already be out by then. Mm-hmm. So we can listen to Lala's great review of that movie as well.
I'll give you my review of it now, because I'm not seeing it. It's a turd. Oh. I hated Guardians of the Galaxy. The first one was terrible. At the end, they all grabbed each other's hands, sung Kumbaya, and some space magic happened, and they won. And it's like, what the fuck happened? My kids, they don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I don't care what happened. So
it's Destiny.
It was Destiny in movie form. That was the movie that killed superhero movies for me. That was done. At that point, I was out. I'm like, I'm out. I'm done. I think I saw.
So done. He hit the microphone.
Hit the microphone. I saw the Captain America Civil War, was it? Because I think my kids were in trouble with the wife. Yeah. And so I took them out of the house to save their lives. We went to go see that, and we're all of us. I mean, I have, 2 teenage boys, and we're all like, this sucked. I mean, you're paying $30 to go see this movie, 30 plus popcorn and all that stuff. So you're like $50-$60 in. It's not worth that price. Now, maybe video on demand, you rent it at home, fine.
Actually, I'll agree with you on Civil War. I watched it on Netflix here a couple weeks ago, and it's like dialogue, fight scene, dialogue, fight scene, dialogue, fight scene. I'm like, that's all it is.
Well, Utah, they just got the movie there because they couldn't figure out how to run technology out there.
It's in black and white still, but
yeah.
They got the organist playing off on the side in Utah at the movies.
Now, I mean, then they sneak in a Deadpool and what the hell I just watched now? Deadpool and Logan, and they were fantastic. So I mean.
See, he's covering for himself right now.
Well, no, I could nitpick Logan. There's problems I have with it. There's a few, but I'll overlook it, and it was entertaining. I liked it.
See, Grumpy, the tomato goes after it. It's just easy. It's like
you guys have been gaming together for what, 8-10 years?
Not him. I hate him. But it's
I only game
easy.
with good people, so
he won't play with me.
Which never much.
All right, so that's it for our news that we stretched out. Failed to join us this evening. But we're going to move on to our main topic. I was thinking about it, and it was something that Jack had said to me recently. Dealt with this in some of the elite forums with people that are really dedicated to Elite Dangerous. Basically, can't we all just get along? How do we navigate different gamers out there? There's so many different personalities you have to deal with in the gaming world, whether it's a tryhard who's really trying, that's their life, and if you're not good, you suck, and they don't want you there. And you get the racist people you got to deal with out there, and ignorant and just rude. So how do we navigate that nowadays? Go ahead, Grumpy.
The racist people, I just avoid altogether. Mm-hmm. I'll leave a party in a second. It's just like, you know what? We're so far past this. Just damn. The tryhards, my biggest beef, and I guess this would fall in the tryhard category, is an Elite Dangerous. There's these group of people who love to role play the asshole. And that's, to me, that's fine if it only damages you. But they
I live action role play that, so. But go on.
That's truth.
They go out of their way on Discord to sling salt and sling shit, and then they write it all off. That's my RP, and I'm just like, how? How do you fucking do that? Mm-hmm. I can't just go and act like a douchebag and then write it off as role playing. I'm freaking 40 years old, you know. I couldn't even do that when I was 18. It's like, just grow up. I don't understand how they do it. I don't.
It's how they get their kicks. I've learned this from running Too Old to Shoot and Green Reaper Gamers and dealing with this. I've seen this a million times over. They're not role playing anything. That's just a person. They're just an asshole. We actually had people quit GRG and harass me on Reddit 2 years later. I'm like, 2 years later, you quit because it wasn't what you wanted, and 2 years later you're still following up on it. I'm like, really? Like, get a life.
So you think it's because in their real life they're contained by their wife or their job and they can't act out, and then they go on the
they
turn
get
on the
big
Xbox
kicks out of it, and
yeah, that just drives me nuts.
Yeah, what this topic started from was so I play in Elder Scrolls, and I'm just running through random dungeons. I queue up for a random dungeon with random people. I don't even pick the veteran, which is like the harder one. There's different levels, so this is just the base one that anybody can join at any level and play. They're pretty straightforward and pretty easy. And the first thing out of this healer's mouth is, if you stand in red shit, I'm not healing you. And the one guy kind of laughed. He's like, no, I'm fucking serious. I'm not healing you. And I'm like, that's the first thing you say when you join a party. Like, this is like, you come in and act like a dick. It's something that's designed for beginners to play. So this level dungeon is for people that are beginners to play, you know, to gear up to get to the harder stuff.
Yeah.
And that's going to be your interaction with other people. And I'm like, I don't understand, you know, why you would, you know, obviously because he's a healer, he can kind of get away with bullshit, saying bullshit like that, because it takes a while to queue up and get a healer, get a tank.
And it's obvious he's a dick, because
if
he's that concerned about it, he wouldn't be at the beginner raid, at the beginner dungeon.
No. And to make, I mean, that's the first thing you say to people. It's not, at that point, at this level of dungeon, it should be about, working with the community and helping people get through it.
Whoa. Did you just say helping people and not berating them like when they're playing Guild Wars 2 with you?
How many times have I given you builds to look at? Say, this is what you want to use.
I almost passed out of my chair when you just said that a minute ago.
And how many times have you listened to my advice?
Right. He just randomly builds shit.
So you randomly build stuff, and that's why I get mad and don't invite you to my parties.
See?
So he gave you the chance, Jammer, to be the beginner, and you threw it in his face.
Yeah, well, that's my job, actually, honestly. It's in my contract. With that, you get people like that. It's a lot of it is, society's driven this way where it's a lot easier to be an asshole when you can't see the other person's face, or when you're right in front of them. It's the internet bully excuse that happens.
That excuse drives me up a wall.
Mm-hmm.
I just carry yourself the same way you would. Just because there's a goddamn Ethernet cord that's protecting you from getting your face beat in, should be no reason to be a dick.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that where I miss with Too Old to Play. They would hold the annual LAN, so you got to see the people you're gaming with face to face and have a beer with them, have a drink with them, have a dinner with them, and everybody I met there, very good friends with, to this day. Obviously, when you meet a person you're playing with them face to face, you're not going to call them an asshole for fucking up the raid or doing. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, and people get crazy about it.
Actually, it's not part of our little bullet points here, but you do, like, I'm a weaker player. I admit that. Probably partly because Lala has berated me. I feel bad about myself and hate myself all the time, and I eat a whole bag of Cheetos. But how do you deal with, like, when you want to try and help somebody, but they don't necessarily have the skills to complete? Like, Destiny's a great example. Some of those Destiny rages, if you don't have people that can.
Oh man, some of those are brutal.
Yeah, how do you handle when you don't want to be a dick to somebody, but they're not gonna get it done?
Yeah, Destiny's a tough one. And this caused a lot of issues that I've seen. we've had the Tryhards come in Destiny. They want to play, they want to clear everything, and they want to get finished right away. We have guys that just, they can't get past it. They want to immediately be max level and be done. Yeah. And they'll go through whatever extent they can to get to that level. So that begins when they start excluding other members of GRG, which is something that we're not about. We're more of the casual gamer. We get together, group together, and you kind of got to deal with players that suck, players that are good, and you all try to help each other. So when you have these Tryhards come in, we had this issue originally with Destiny, and they all wanted to branch out because they wanted to do some nonsense. It doesn't work in a community like that we have. And when players are that way, they're just not interested in being part of a community like GRG or anyone. They're probably better off suited just going to a looking for group site, accessing that and getting their stuff done and put in the requirements, because you can go there and say, you need to be this level, you need to know the fights, and play that way, because that's the way you want to play. It's hard because Destiny is tough. Originally, the first couple of raids, you can kind of Sherpa people through, walk them through and carry a weaker player until they learn the fights or learn what to do. Uh-huh. The later raids required everybody to do something. So you always responsible. Usually you broke off to teams of 2. And if you didn't pull your weight, it wiped the whole thing. And when you get stuck with a weaker player, it's difficult because you're stuck in the position where you want this guy to get through the raid and complete it, but then you also have 4 other guys in the raid that you want them to complete as well. And it's rough. It's a point where you got to try to find the right balance of that player lifting his game up and the other people to drop their expectations down.
Yeah, and that's where I find the hard area, because for me personally, for the most part, when I play games, I want to play with friends, which is why I'm part of a community like we have, and I just want to relax and have a good time, right? Mm-hmm. So it's the balance there of, if I'm sucking at it, even you start putting pressure upon yourself because you don't want to piss everybody else off, and then it instead of having fun, all of a sudden you're feeling pressure, right? And then you're not enjoying yourself. When Lala yells at you because he's the guild leader and screams at you instead of helping you, puts pressure on you and makes me cry at night when I go to bed.
I learned that the hard way with Elite Dangerous. Because I have a serious love for sci-fi. And so for me, it was my game, and I realize now that is a very, very niche game. Mm-hmm. But when I first started out, I was very, very patient, and people are just getting very frustrated. Because it's more of a simulator than an arcade. Mm-hmm. And so I just got to the point where look, this game is hard as balls. It does not hold your hand. And I was just brutally honest up front. And then after that, if they were like, okay, so I just need to take my time, I says, yeah, I don't care if it takes you 2 weeks. Just take your time. And until 2 weeks ago, it was all voice communication to try and help a person. And now they have multi-crew where they can ride in your ship and kind of play with the guns a little bit. So that makes it tons easier. But man, when first starting out, the game was brutal to teach people that had never played it.
I picked up taking off and landing in the first night, so I kind of mastered that game, put it away. I don't know.
Yeah. It's funny, we were discussing that a couple of weeks ago. Landing is the one thing that makes everybody uninstall that game.
Yeah, that's probably, it made me quit for the longest time, just because I was like, fuck this. I gotta figure out where the numbers are and all this shit.
It took me a night. I figured it out.
Well, you're a gaming god, we know that. You're MLG.
That's all I could do in that game was take off and land, and after that, I was like,
How do we handle now? This is a big problem when we play Battlefield, and a lot of times we're in party chat, so we all just bitch about it. But there are certain games where people don't play the fucking objective. Mm-hmm. They get the Battlefield, and they have 7,000 snipers rather than going and capturing a point. Is there any way to deal with that besides try and find a different lobby?
You rage quit. We had this last week on community night. We were playing the server. We had the 18 usual GRG on. The party was filled. I think we had a few extra hanging on. But for whatever reason, there was one team that like literally dominated the other team. So much so it was like 1,000 to 550. The point difference was like crazy. And, I was on Too Fat's team. He was in his tank as usual. And around him at this one area was 9 different snipers. We counted them. Like, I'm standing there on this dune with him. I'm like counting all these people. And it was, obviously we were getting our ass kicked. We had no capture points and we couldn't even spawn anywhere besides our base spawn. That night I rage quit. I was like, I'm done. I had enough. It was 3 games in a row of this. And, but that's odd. That usually doesn't happen with Battlefield. Usually they kind of switch up the teams. So if like whoever the squads are doing well, they get mixed across the 2 different teams. That's why GRG is never usually on the same team. So that was kind of odd. I can handle people not playing the objective in Battlefield because that is what that game is. You have 32 people playing per team, and you can't control, what some dumbass is doing, hiding in a corner with a sniper rifle, getting his 1 kill per game. It's going to happen, and you just realize it's probably on both sides.
It makes it really tough, and that's unfortunate, and that's where we go back a lot of times with games like Battlefield, where if there was a maximum of a certain class, so you can only fill 6 snipers. I still think people wouldn't necessarily play the objective, but it would probably help a little bit.
I don't know if that's a fix. I forget what games we played where there was limited class. Maybe it was a Battlefield originally, but there was limited classes. People are going to do what you get to that size, you get guys that are just playing for kills. So they're playing Conquest for Battlefield. All they're concerned about is kills. They're not worried about the capture points or whatever.
Siege was the one that did limited classes in it.
It was a Siege, yeah. And you just kind of got to take it and just, like I said, it doesn't really bother me. I don't really concern myself too much with wins and losses in Battlefield as long as like the matches are close. If they're within 100 points, then it is what it is. I'm just playing to have fun. That's how I view it, because when you have 20 people on your team that you have no control or communication with, there's really not much you can do. There's no reason to get worked up over it.
Yeah. Well, I think a game like Battlefield, you have to have a few tryhards in your team to outweigh the COD players on the other team who are just out for kills, which do nothing for your score and they just don't care for some reason.
Yeah, especially for this version, Battlefield 1, you don't lose tickets for kills. So you can die 1,000 times. It doesn't make a difference in game.
Or other ones you did, yeah.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so this one, it doesn't matter. You can die 1,000,000 times.
And Mac will revive you 1,000,000 times.
In the line of fire, because he needs the points for the 3 times he plays it.
Yes. So let me ask a final question to round out this topic. We all love video games. That's why we play it. That's why we joined a community of people that game, is because of our love of video games. So shouldn't we, as video game fans, shouldn't we be bonding more, as a club type of thing, rather than being so divisive as it seems to be the user base out there?
Absolutely. This is video games to me is the 21st century Elk Lodge.
Oh, look at that! You can't think of it anywhere else but Idaho and Utah for those things. Elk lodges,
or whatever it is you have out there.
Are you the Grand Poobah?
That's your bowling night. That's your guys' bowling night.
Do you have to wear a lampshade on your head, or when you're in that, or?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like we should all be like, especially as adults. I mean, little kids a little bit different. So, for a good number of us that are in our 40s, it should almost be like a cool little club thing, rather than be like, well, you're a fucking asshole, or in some of the drama that you have to deal with in the gaming world. Right. Lala, what do you say about this slippery slope?
I game and get along with everybody, and I'm probably one of the better people to game with.
Oh, are you saying we should allow the assholes into the community as well? That's what you meant?
Oh, no, I'll weed those out real fast.
Yeah, I was going to say, you shouldn't let it poison the water.
No, I sense that, and as soon as I see someone being that way, they're gone. Yeah, I'm pretty good at that. I root that out real fast. But no,
So
I think that we all get along. I think Jammer's trying to bait me here, and
yes, he definitely is. That's why I make these topics, just to bait you. So I will finish with the classic Johnny here. So can't we all just get along? Maybe, kind of, sometimes.
No, never.
No, but yes, it depends. As he hasn't done that one in a while.
You're not waffling. Johnny never waffles.
Yeah, never waffles. He's a solid host. So we just deal, and that's where the benefit of our community comes in. Is we stick in our world, and are you going to get along with everybody all the time? No, I mean I deal with Jack on a daily basis. Trust me. I mean you will not. But yeah, look at
it real quick this way. I mean, look at a player like Fidel that played Call of Duty with us. Now this guy would go or Too Fat with Battlefield. Yeah, they're going 40-1, but they're still gaming with us, knowing that some of the guys are going to go 1-40. And
yeah,
you kind of got to.
Oh, you just haven't played. You haven't met Too Fat on a bad night. If he's the only one on his team not playing the objective, he will let you know about it, boy.
Too Fat would never yell at me. Me and Too Fat get along really well.
Yeah,
I think
I haven't talked to him forever.
Yeah, the expeditions of him with GRG, he's in there just having fun. So
it's a good topic. I mean, it's something that we all have to deal with. Unfortunately, and it's not going to go away. It's not going to get better.
No.
It's just something that we all deal with. So, we'll move on.
Just don't stand in the fire because I'm not healing you.
I'm not healing you, bitch. So we want to take a second and welcome all the yesterday or today Mad Dog. I'm calling you out, asshole. So if you're not listening to the podcast, you're going to hear it from me. Actually, though, I typically give people a warning. That's who I'm calling out today. He seems to be fitting in pretty well quickly. We've had some other members joining us looking for new people. So if you're just listening to the podcast and not part of our community, feel free to sign up. I approve everybody because I actually don't have the rights to approve anybody, but I'll approve you. So you're approved. But welcome to everybody. Hope you're enjoying the website. I do want to say to our listeners out there, almost like not a plea, but kind of a plea, is that Johnny, Jack, and I, a lot of times we have discussions, and we enjoy doing the podcast. And I'm not saying we're not doing the podcast. We do enjoy it, but your feedback is very important to us. For one, it makes us feel like what we're doing, which is worthwhile. We probably still do it because we're stupid idiots, but your feedback's vital. So reviews on iTunes or letting us know in the forums how you're listening to it. Any feedback, we just want to know you're listening out there, and we want to know that what we do is worthwhile to you. So please let us know that. And I see Jack's ready to hit the microphone, so let's see what he says here. What's he going to say?
No, with that, we're going to be pretty light with people on the podcast for the next month or so. I know Johnny's got meetings or some shit. Something about
Nebraska.
Something like baseball and his kids. I don't buy that, but whatever. If you're interested in being on the podcast, bullshitting with us for an hour, hit either me, Jammer, or Johnny up, and we'll get you on.
Yeah, Grumpy can tell you it's not. We give him KY first, so his ass isn't
it's not too bad.
Yeah. So please, just even if you don't want to be on, it's not your thing. Just give us some feedback, so that way we don't have to listen to Jack complain and ask us all the time, why the fuck are we doing this? So our next show, assuming Jack doesn't fire us between then, it will be recorded on May 9th. Make sure you're going to GrimReaperGamers.com. Check the calendar of events there. Go to the forums at forums.GrimReaper.com. Make sure you're on Discord, chatting it up during the day, bullshitting with us. Visit us. We got Facebook with Facebook.com/GrimReaperGamers. We're on Twitter because, Jack likes Twitter so much. At grg grgamers.com. Spell the D-O-T out. Normally that's my only fucking job during this segment, so fuck you, Johnny. So follow us there. Twitch and Beam. The community has really made an effort to do a lot more streaming. I was able to watch Digital's football game against Texas today. Texas, for the love of God, would not call a timeout when Digital was letting the clock wind down and he was only down by 1. I wanted to just reach through the monitor and hit the fucking controller for him. So, check out our Twitch channel and Beam. We're hosting people. You can check out what we're doing. We got a lot of good things happening. So, Jack, do you have anything before I finish up here?
No, that's all.
Okay, good. That's the best ever. So, thanks everybody listening. Like I said, please give us your feedback. If you ever have topic ideas for us, put it on the forums. Give us a PM. We're not that bright. We got to make this shit up generally at the last second every time. Subscribe hit the subscribe button. Check out past episodes, especially episode 10, 13 minutes in. And, check us out on YouTube and subscribe in iTunes. So, with that,
No, I don't know if I turn it on or off. I forget which way. No, we also on Google Podcast, the RSS feeds up there. So there's many different ways to subscribe to the podcast other than iTunes.
Yeah. So listen to us. Tell us how awful we are. We appreciate hearing that, especially Johnny since he's not here. Grumpy, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Hope you had a good time. Hope you'll come back again sometime.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
With a
great.
Camera so I can pick on you.
Yeah, I'll do it again. I'll promise I'll have a camera the next time.
Good, because I need material, and if I can't see anything, I have no material.
Well, actually, I don't know if you want that, because the wall right behind me is my wife's Steelers wall.
Well, I don't give a shit about that. Idaho and Utah give me enough material without that.
Frickin' Stillers.
Yeah.
Stillers,
Yeah.
I love it.
Stillers.
So thanks. Have a good night. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you in a few weeks.